And we're talking to Alana McLaughlin, who has given us some information in reference to defining exactly what youth violence and intentional injuries consist of, and to use a couple of case studies dealing with this during this particular segment of the show. Let's talk about the two cases that you mentioned earlier as examples of perhaps what you mean when you talk about youth violence and intentional injuries. What do you mean when you use these examples?
Well, if you just tuned in, the two cases I was that Dr. Haney was referring to were the Tupac Shakur case, Tupac Shakur, and Trayvon Martin case. Now, in Tupac's case, he was in Las Vegas and he was going back from a nightclub, and when a old-fashioned Cadillac pulled to his left, so they rolled down the window, and while Tupac was standing up in the sunroof place, he was just standing up, kind of in the sunroof. The gunman shot Tupac in his chest, his abdomen. And there was a whole round in his right lung, and he was also shot in his right hand and his left thigh. Now, the gunman I'm aware of was also accidentally shot, and so what happened to Tupac was he was rushed to the hospital, but on September the 13th, 1996, he was pronounced dead at 4 o'clock p.m. approximately, and the doctors tried to revive him, but they couldn't repair his hemorrhage, and Tupac's mother, Miss Shakur, ordered the doctors to stop trying to revive him. She knew her son was gone. And another case would be Trayvon Martin. Now, Mr. Trayvon Martin was a teenager. He was 17, and he was watching the football game for the March Madness. So after that, he decided he was going to go down to the store, Corn Market, and go get himself some snacks because he was chilling at home alone, and that's what probably any teen would go do. So after that, he went down to the store, and he was wearing a hoodie, and after that, he just grabbed a Mountain Dew and some Skittles. So he paid for that, and as he exited the the store, George Zimmerman, the local neighborhood watch leader, was out watching people. So he saw Martin and thought, whoa, he's suspicious. So after that, he called 911, and the 911 dispatcher specifically said, do not target him, do not get out the car, don't follow him. But of course, Mr. Zimmerman, in his disobedience, followed Mr. Martin, targeted him, and shot him. Now, most people say that they shot that Trayvon was attacking Zimmerman, and Zimmerman did it in self-defense, and that's what Zimmerman's family also says. But some people think it was racism. Some people just think it was just a random shooting. On the other hand, I don't know what to think, because all I know is that I really pray for Trayvon Martin's family, and that I know that Obama is actually on Trayvon's side also, because President Obama also said that if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon. So I'm guessing that takes it as, oh, I'm sorry for your family, Trayvon, rest in peace. God bless.
And so this is one of the more renowned cases of youth violence and intentional injuries that you're familiar with. And I also understand that you were able to talk to other folks in reference to this particular case and some of the other items in terms of youth violence and intentional injuries. What about people in your age and at your school? Do they ever think in terms of the kind of intentional injuries that they often inflict upon one another, and what are some of those injuries that they might inflict?
Well, at my school, intentional injuries isn't really a non-common thing. It's pretty. Considering we have 650 students, it's kind of hard to keep them all tamed. So most of the injuries that people inflict on each other would be punches, kicks in areas that you don't want to be kicked in. You could be slapped, you could be pushed, you could have a chair thrown at you. You could also be very seriously hurt. Like one boy, this is unfortunate, he was going to breakfast, and he got body slammed right into the concrete floor, right into a paved floor because I think he took a boy's seat and he picked him up and body slammed him right on the floor. And the scary thing is that the gender had to clean up blood, and the boy was rushed to the hospital. We haven't heard from the boy ever since.
But those is, in other words, you're simply saying that even people your age involved with bullying and involved with youth violence, and
Very
to
much
such
so.
an extent that some of the things that you say about that today, you think that might have some impact upon them to help them stop youth violence, think in terms of how they ought to how should they treat one another in places like
They should treat each other like they want to be treated, because if you want to be beat up and if you want to be teased, then that actually gives you no right to do it to somebody else. If you don't want that to happen to you, why would you do it to somebody else? Because you know that their reflexes will say, oh, I'm gonna go target her back, and I'm gonna go do that right back. So just treat them like you want to be treated. Treat them nicely. Treat them how you would want to be treated, is all I can simply say.
And so that's probably your motto in terms of how you wish young people your age to deal with people. We've had you on many other occasions, and you've talked about some aspects of digital cyberspace and that kind of thing.
Cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. Now, what does that mean, and how do you relate that to what you talk about when you mention youth violence?
Another version of cyberbullying would also be using, this is an iPod Touch, an 8-gigabyte iPod Touch. And another form of bullying would be to get on Twitter and probably just go on somebody's page and go type, oh, I hate this girl so much, she's so ugly. And I've seen that happen like on many places like Facebook and of course Twitter and maybe YouTube and etc. But all I can say is that don't take your anger out on somebody else. Just like try to be calm with it. Try to understand that maybe it was an accident. Accidents happen, but the youth nowadays try to go around that and try to say, oh, she did it on purpose, when they probably know that it was probably an accident or something.
Very good. And of course, Lana, look, we're getting ready for our second commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll have about 10 minutes, and then we'll give you an opportunity to make some other statements in reference to youth violence and intentional injuries. But I think that in a real sense, it has been very, very instructive in terms of the kind of information that you're giving us. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.
He was so inspiring.
He took chances.
He was so moving.
He lived daringly.
Martin Luther King Jr. was a man of service, and his day shall be a day of service.
He inspired us in words, but he led us in deeds. To honor him, let's do the same. Go to mlkday.gov and find out how to volunteer on Martin Luther King Day and beyond. This message is brought to you by the Corporation for National and Community Service.
He's a miracle child. He wasn't supposed to make it. Whoever it is that donated this blood to Mason, I just want to say thank you.
I think he's reaching out for you. There we go.
Help 911 protect you and your family. Nashville Emergency Communications now offers a free service to help you and your family when you call 911 for police, fire, and EMS to better locate you. Do you have a medical issue? Is a family member handicapped or has Alzheimer's? Maybe you have small children in your home. Signing up provides first responders information to help assist you in an emergency. This information can include any valuable information you feel may be critical, such as photos, medical issues, and your current location. Smart 911 is 100% private. Sign up today at smart911.com.
Water, a precious resource most of us take for granted. But for the people of the McLaughlin region in Kenya, Africa, water is a scarce commodity. Families are at the mercy of rainfall to collect water for drinking, bathing, and cooking, and the rains come only a few times a year. Many people are forced to use dirty water collected from rivers and must transport it for long distances. But thanks to Child Fund International, the Akasi Earth Dam has changed all of that. Now river water is channeled to collection points where it's cleaned and made easily available at a series of pump stations. It's almost as simple as turning on a tap. Time previously spent collecting and transporting water can now be used towards other endeavors, all helping to improve the quality of everyone's lives. It's just one more example of Child Fund making a difference in the lives of people worldwide. Child Fund International, disrupting poverty. Go to childfund.org.
Thank you and welcome back to this final segment of the show for today. The topic is youth violence and intentional injuries. And we're talking to Alana McLaughlin, who has already given us some information in reference to two more famous cases of intentional injuries and youth violence, indicating that not all injuries are intentional, but there are some that continue to intentionally harm other people. And I think that you've got some additional information that you wish to bring to us in reference to a hologram. Is that?
Yes.
Why don't you explain that to our audience?
Tupac Shakur, everybody knows that Tupac Shakur was caught in a drive-by shooting in 1996 and died September 13th in 96. So everybody knows that Tupac was dead. He's been dead for over 15 years. So at the Coachella Sunday night, Tupac performed as a hologram there, and it brought tears to many people. And I would like to show you the video, but I'm not sure if you can see it, so I was trying to.
Well, just explain it to exactly what is this.
The video is of Tupac with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and as they perform live on stage, Tupac is in a hologram, and a hologram is like an image, a computer image of mainly deceased people, but it's an image of people that you can control to do like. Another reference to prove that was a hologram performing on stage, not just not regular Tupac, because he's been dead. When Tupac died in '96, a few years afterwards, the Coachella was first built. Now, the Coachella didn't exist when Tupac was alive in his lifespan. So how could he yell Coachella in his performance when he died a few years before they even before the Coachella even existed? So that's another proof, and that's another sentence of proof to show that how people can bring up holograms for one of the most notorious rappers of all time. Like he's been called Pac, Concrete Rose, and
Concrete Rose. Exactly what does that mean? I mean, you mentioned that on a number of occasions. Exactly.
Actually, Tupac was born in the hood. It was a not so perfect place. And he grew up to be one of the biggest rappers of our generation, of our decade. So they call him a rose that was blooming out of concrete. So like he's the rose, and his concrete is where he's all been his lifespan, and he just blooms out of that, and he just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's why Tupac Shakur is also known as Pac and Concrete Rose.
Very good, and of course you know of many of these individuals who are significant and play very important parts. In terms of, you mentioned Dr. Dre and Dr. Dre and several others. Who are these individuals, and how do you relate to these individuals within your school? I mean, are they people your age thinking about dealing with Tupac and other individuals of that nature?
Referring back to the Coachella performance, Snoop Dogg was with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, and Tupac was with Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. So when he was performing, he performed two songs with Snoop Dogg, Ain't Nothing But a Gangster Party and Hail Mary. So as he performed those two, Snoop Dogg was on stage, you know, with them doing what Tupac usually does. And if you've never seen Tupac, he had a tattoo across his chest, stomach area, that said Thug Life, and it was just around here like in a kind of a U shape. And later to figure out, he also had an album named Thug Life. So current star Rihanna took that to her own because she cried during the Coachella performance. So she went to a tattoo artist and got Thug Life on her wrist, on her knuckles, kind of in this area. So Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, now Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre are common names in the 20th century nowadays. And Tupac, people will never forget Tupac. I mean, Tupac has put an influence on people people will not forget Tupac. I mean, Tupac will never be forgotten. I mean, he may be dead, but his legacy lives on. So Tupac will be remembered, and I can assure you that anybody in my class really knows who Tupac is.
So everybody here, that's a well-known hero in a real sense among people in
name.
A regular name, a well-known name among people of your age and in your group. Now, do you think that he can have any good influence on these young people, or what kind of influence you think some of these individuals are?
Tupac didn't have many influences, but his one influence, referring to his name, Concrete Rose, was that you could be born in the hood, or you could be born to a poor family, you could be on welfare, and you could be one of the biggest names in the decade, in the generation, like Tupac did. So I would take that as an influence to do whatever you can. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter where you'll be. It matters that you're determined to be who you want to be, and determine why you want to be it, and determine that you can do it. So don't ever think that you can't, because you can.
Well, when you talk about intentional injuries, what can you say to young people your age and in your category about how they ought to relate to one another? I mean, is there any kind of guiding principle that they could have in terms of being able to relate to one another and move away from this kind of violence?
Actually, at my school, we have a guidance counselor. Her name is Laura, we just call her Miss Grayson. So her name is Laura Grayson, and she was actually one of your many students at TSU a long time ago, but she is the one person you can go to. She's the one person you can be talking to. She's the one person that you can go to with all your problems. You can be like, oh, Miss Grayson, help me, and she will surely help you, and she's very, very nice. I am very pleased that she still works at Robert Churchwell, and I'm hoping that she will for the next 10, 30 years.
And so they have good guidance counselors, you believe, at your school that is always involved in trying to direct young people toward their selected goal. And they are achievers. Do you think that they are achievers? What about some of the people that you know personally that are making great achievements at your school?
Well, at my school we have an encore program, which is for how do I say this? For smarter students, and so I'm in encore. One of my friends, Utsa from India, is in it. One of my friends, Sky, and then there are only there's actually 5 fourth graders in there. It's Beyonce Dowell, Daniel Putnam, me, Utsa Singer, and Sky Dupree. And we also have 1 5th grader in our encore class. And basically what we all do is, like, we meet up and we talk about how we can change the school, and how, because we were picked to be an encore because we're good influences. We do hard work. We go to that class because we do a little advanced work, because they say that the classroom work is a little bit too easy for us, and it's trying to give us the runaround. So basically, encore is like, how do I describe it? It's basically where good people meet up to recruit more good people. Like a good people group.
And you mentioned earlier, over the last couple of minutes, that there's this TCAP test that's scheduled. Say something about that over the last couple of minutes, and how young people ought to prepare for that, as you are preparing for it now.
TCAP stands for the Tennessee, I forgot, it's a test that, and now it used to be for about 40% of your grade. Now it's for about 60% of your grade. So you fail TCAP, you fail your grade. I am in 4th grade, so if I fail TCAP, I'll just have to repeat 4th grade until I finally ace it, which I hope not to do. But basically, TCAP is the test that gets you motivated for 5th grade. It gets you pressed and ready. It gets you, boom, I am ready for TCAP if I am ready for this test. I am ready for TCAP. I'm ready for 5th grade.
And so the Metropolitan School System, you believe now, is trying to prepare students like yourself and others.
The Metropolitan School Board, MNPS, is trying to prepare students for their TCAP test by having pep rallies and parties and group meetups and etc.
And so they're very serious in terms of education at the schools that you've attended so far, and that everybody puts some emphasis upon student achievement and students doing well, and you like to think of yourself as among those that are doing well.
I like to think of myself as a leader, not a follower, because I don't follow the latest trends. I follow what I think is what's comfortable, what's what's warm in the winter, what's hot in the summer. So I follow what I believe, and I follow what makes me the most comfortable. I don't follow skinny jeans because they hurt my legs. I don't follow heels because they can hurt my feet. So, etc.
Okay, so you have learned a lot of things, I would imagine, Lana, at the school that you attend, and you're ready to really move to the 5th grade, I would imagine. Is that right?
Yes, Dr.
And
Handy.
of course, we'd certainly like to thank you for coming by and giving us that information today. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and
Good morning.
I've seen too many women with breast cancer who could have avoided extensive treatment or even death had they gotten an annual mammogram. If you're 40 or older, get a mammogram every year. To find an accredited center, visit mammography-saves-lives.org.
Let's be real. There are days when every mom wants to tell her kids to take a hike.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Because when you take us hiking,
or let us run outside,
and acting silly, you're making our lives healthier and happier.
So next time when Mom wants you to take a hike,
tell her to go to beoutthere.org to find fun ideas for helping kids enjoy the great outdoors.
Be out there!
Come see, come be, come stretch, come sketch, come care, come share. Find gifts and more. It's your nature. Explore. For the children in your life, visit Nature Explore at arborday.org.